Hello, everyone. This is Shirley Young, and welcome to Build a Wealth Strategy and Mindset Expert Talk series, where we're going to talk about proven strategies to build wealth, pay off debt, and live more fully. I'm delighted to have today's guest here with us. I'd like to introduce you to Melinda Frost. She is a mindful money coach, the founder of Mindful Money Work and Mindful Money World Summit. Through some sound financial application and deep inner game transformation, Melinda helps women to tackle and transform their relationship with money so that they can play full out in life and business and live abundantly on their terms. Melinda stands for financial empowerment, where everyone has the opportunity to live an abundant, financially empowered life that allows them to heal themselves, their communities, and the world in a bigger way. Welcome, Melinda, and thank you for being on this interview series with us.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
That's great. I know you have an amazing story to share with us. Tell us a little bit of what you do and who do you work with.
Oh, certainly. Well, like you said, I'm a money coach, working primarily with women entrepreneurs, but there's also a few amazing men that I've worked with as well. And it's really just about a holistic transformation with your money. Like we had talked before, Shirley and I have talked about, part of my money coaching comes from the struggles I've personally had with money and wanting to realize the dreams that I wanted to realize in life. And it's been so instrumental in my being able to help other people to achieve their dreams and to, create that new healthy relationship with money.
That's great. And when you work with your clients, do you have a wealth building system that you use with them?
I do. And it's funny, I never really thought of it as a wealth building system, but it really is. There's no better way to describe it. Basically because of the financial struggles I've had, I did a bunch of research into what other financial experts were saying as far as, what you should do to kind of protect yourself and to grow your wealth, to transition the financial part of your life. And then I looked at what I was doing and I thought, well, no wonder I had the results that I had. It's really, really pretty simple, in the basic part, depending where you're starting out. There's a few basic pieces that I'd want you to have in place that will really help to protect you, which is kind of that first layer that you need to have in order to be able to build wealth. The first layer is not to pay off debt, actually, like a lot of people would think. But the first thing is to have some money in what I call a safe account that you don't touch for emergencies, because that's your barrier, your protection between you and the world for those, things that come up that we aren't prepared for, and so that we don't have to incur more debt. So you start with, $1,000 or $2,000 in a safe account, depending if you're single or if you're, supporting a family. And then you really tackle the debt, getting rid of the debt if you have it. And the way that I look at that is, if it's at 7% interest or more, it goes into this pile, okay? So like your mortgage probably isn't in this pile, and likely your car loans are not in this pile, depending at the interest rate that they're at. But anything 7% or more, okay? And also that probably does not include student loans, just so you have an idea. So your second step to building wealth would be to pay off any of those debts that are the higher, and that can take a little while. So I have kind of a fun thing that I do that helps that to be a little bit more fun, and that's, say you have $300 a month that you can use to pay off your debts extra above minimum payments. Well, instead of putting all $300 towards paying off your debts, yes, that's your priority, but we want you to stick with it too, right? So what I would say is to take between $50 and $75 a month to play. That's money you spend on anything you want. And then that helps you to stay on track and to stick with taking that other $225 to $250 and paying it towards your debt every month. Because if you completely put all your money towards paying off your debt, you feel so restricted that a lot of times you cave, right? And you put something on the credit cards again, or you spend the safe money. So this keeps us on task. Does that make sense so far, Shirley?
Yes. No, it makes great sense because it's just building habits, right?
Right. And you got to reward the good habits to some degree.
Yes.
You can't just deprive yourself all the time. Think of the diet and how, eventually you gorge yourself on something you shouldn't eat because you're being so restrictive, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, it's definitely true because it's very natural is that, I have a debt, I have to pay this and pay this off quick. And then you don't think about saving for your emergency funds. And
right.
An emergency fund is important because, like you said, it can actually incur more debt if you don't have that. But it's also having that, that mindset of saving, right?
Yeah. And then, then from there, really what you do is, I like adding in this step of saving $5,000 in your safe fund. So you've already got that $1,000 to $2,000 cushion, right? So now you're going to add to that. So it's not like a whole new $5,000. You're just building up to $5,000. That's going to cover, for most people, 30 days of expenses if it needed to, and some pretty big expenses that could come up as a, kind of unexpectedly, like, hot water tank or having a car accident, having to pay the deductibles and for a rental car, those kinds of things that could happen that we're not prepared for. And so it's a really nice barrier, right, against those unexpected things, which allows us to then, continue to build our wealth at this point, right? We've got rid of the debt. We've got a safe cushion in place. And then from there, we can start to, really build our wealth. And what I would say your first priority would be as far as building wealth. This is where, saving for retirement or saving for long-term things comes into play, is to first fully fund your 401k as much as your employer matches if you're, working in a corporate setting, or to fully fund an IRA each year. So that would be your next goal, to be putting away that, right around $5,500 a year in a savings account for long term.
Right.
And that would be your next step. And I like to look at these in increments so they feel like kind of almost more like baby steps. It doesn't feel so overwhelming. You're not saying, well, I need 6 months of savings to protect myself in case I'm unemployed and to put 10% for long-term retirement. That just feels very unachievable a lot of times. So this way we break it down and it makes more sense. The other piece of the wealth building system is to have an account that you put money in every month for long-term expenses that you anticipate, things that you don't spend money on every month, but you do spend money or would like to. So maybe you're going to need a new computer, or maybe there's some maintenance that you need to do on your home. There's just these things that come up, school clothes, Christmas, that are not everyday things, but you want to have the money in place when those things come up. And then that way you're not taking away from your safe account, and you're still being able to fund the 401k or the IRA, and you have that money in place so that you're not incurring any more debt. And eventually you can get to the point where you're saving 10% for retirement. You can get to the point where you have enough money that you're setting aside every month for all those expenses that you can even pay for your vacation in cash, and you can pay for your vehicles in cash instead of having to take out loans. It's a gradual process. That's why it's a system, right? To build to where a very wealthy, comfortable way of living.
Okay. And do you have like 3 essential principles of building wealth that you recommend your clients or the people you work with?
I do. So the first piece is to plan. I know none of us, we don't like to plan. We, as humans, most of us, or if we do, we kind of plan and then we don't really get back to looking at the plan. It kind of sits on the bookshelf if it's like a business plan, or sits in the computer. But just to really kind of, this helps it to seem doable as well, the building system, because say you're saving for that, first 1,000 or 2,000 in a safe account, and it feels like it's going to take forever. Well, when you have a plan, a financial, you can call it a budget, you can call it a spending plan. I call mine a money magnet because it feels a lot more fun. But you can put in there, all the months in the year, and you can go out more than 1 year if you want, and you can plug in those amounts you're going to save, and you can see then right in front of you, you can see with those numbers how that's going to look and how that's going to feel. So that plan really helps us to experience what we want to have and what we want to create and to stick to it, right? So then our next essential principle after planning is to implement. So doing this plan, right, and part of implementing that plan more achievable is having that money we set aside each month to spend, right? Like we talked about, $50, $100, depending how much money we have to work with, but some amount of money that we can just take and spend every month and not have to feel like all of it's going to pay down the debt or all of it's going to savings. I just wanted to point out here, this is applicable to businesses too. I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs on the line, and you can use these same principles in your business. So, when you're implementing your plan for your business, your financial plan, you want to really focus on those revenue generating activities, right? So that you make sure that you have the cash flow that you want coming into your business, and you don't. So you can keep funding those accounts you want to fund and creating that life and that wealth that you want to build. And then our third step is, or essential principle, is to really review this, to actually reflect on what worked and what didn't, so that plan can be more accurate and more effective for you, so that you enjoy implementing the plan more, so that it's more effective. And then this is my favorite part of reviewing it, is celebrating. Because even if we fall a little bit short and we don't do things perfectly, because you know what, we're human, you need to celebrate all of that effort and all of those things you did accomplish. We always tend to focus on what we don't do or we don't achieve. We need to focus on what we do achieve.
That's great advice. How about top 3 habits?
Yeah, what I would say, as far as wealth building habits, would be the first one I would recommend is to have a regular money practice. If you have a spouse or a partner, you might set a money date with that person to do this together, because, if you're paying bills together and you're, doing the household budget together, or if you have a partner in your business, then you may want to include them. But basically, a money practice is just where you set time aside to look at your numbers, to check and make sure you're on target for what you want to be doing. So it may be just starting out with like as simple as paying the bills or checking your bank account balances, if that's something that you have kind of shied away from doing. It may be, looking more long-term at strategy. It may be educating yourself on some financial aspect that, it's just baby steps. It's like 30 minutes a week or so that you spend, just focusing on your money. It's amazing if you do that consistently, how much more effective you can be with your money and how much you can learn and grow in the area of money. And it really is my second habit is to be very consistent on your focused goals. And that really goes along the same lines. You can use that money practice to do this. Anything that we do consistently, even, small amounts, like saving $50 a month, every month. I mean, it adds up. It makes a difference. So just being, you have your goals that you've created in your plan, and to be very consistent about those, And, the last habit is, shake it off. Realize you're human. And if you don't do it exactly like you thought you would or like you wanted to do, it's okay. Just start fresh now. Jump back on the wagon, so to speak, we're always, you have to realize from where you started how much difference these things can do and make, and look at how far you have come, even if you have a slip up, and, just jump back into doing the best you can for yourself.
Yes. When you were mentioning about the practice, regular money practice, something that, I think people avoid. It's not a fun thing to do. And it can be dry and kind of, I guess it depends on where you are in your financial journey, but we avoid it because we don't want to face reality.
Yeah, no, totally. And, that just made me think to mention, too, something else that I've often recommended with the money practice is to make it more fun or to make it more enjoyable. Light some candles, put on some music that you like, or reward yourself for it, So, okay, I got to pay these bills. It's not going to be the funnest 30 minutes, that I've ever spent, but I know it's it's kind of like when you start a new exercise routine and, you're going to have some sore muscles and it might kind of suck, but in the long run, it's going to be a lot easier, right? And so, you do your money practice and then you reward yourself, with something that you want to do, a really good piece of chocolate or some romantic time with your honey after you guys talk about money and you have those difficult conversations that aren't so fun to have, but that are really, helpful to be on the same page. Then you can say, okay, now we can have fun time. We can go have, fun time and go do something fun. Go out to dinner or just, stay home and spend some time together, whatever,
Right. Or have a glass of wine when you're doing it. Right?
Yes. Or have a glass of wine while you pay the bills.
Exactly. And so, how do you transform your dreams of wealth into reality? I know you talked a lot about paying debt and everything. How about creating wealth and, how to transform?
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, I just want to, I want to say, that, there's a lot of these things we've been focusing on are more of an outer game money piece, but there really is a whole inner game to money, our emotions and our feelings. And there's just the, kind of attraction of money. We're all kind of wired a little differently when it comes to that. And, there are certain things we can do to really attract more abundance into our life, to be kind of, you may have heard people talk about being at that vibrational frequency where you really attract more wealth into your life, and part of that is really about your mindset. So, as far as transforming your dreams into reality, I spend some time on a regular basis, maybe every 3 or 4 months or so, just really reflecting on what my dreams are that I really want to have. And then, since our minds are so receptive to images, it's a really cool way for us to kind of transport ourselves to really feel our dreams and what those are going to feel like and what those mean to us. I like to have maybe not a vision board per se, but I like to have pictures that remind me of the dreams that I'm aspiring for around on a regular basis. And then I freshen them up every 3 or 4 months so that it's something new and more exciting for my mind. But I'll put it as like my screensaver. Or you could like put a picture on your fridge, places that you go. I've put like inspirational things that kind of put me in that mindset on my mirror. I'll like write it in the dry erase markers on my mirror so that when I get up in the morning, it kind of makes me smile because I have that, that reminder right there of what I'm doing this for, It can even help to have a picture or something on your nightstand. For example, I have a picture of my 2 daughters on my nightstand because I hate getting up in the morning. And I kind of roll over, I smack off my cell phone, which is my alarm, and then I see my daughter smiling at me, and it's like, okay, yep, it's time to get up. This is why I do this, right? So just little things that keep us motivated and keep us expansive and in that right energy vibration. And then if it's okay, I could just mention briefly my free gift because it's along the same lines there. There's a 12-day abundance challenge that just has an exercise to do each day for 12 days to help you to attract more abundance into your life. So that might be something fun along that same thing for people.
No, those are great ideas of how, the picture of your daughter, they're great motivation and just people forget that and we need it. We need constant reminder and constantly reminding what is our dream, why we're doing things, what is our big why, right? And so, no, you can talk about your, I know that we're going to be talking about it later, but if it, relates to this, you can, share with the audience, definitely.
Yeah, I just wanted to tie that in so that they knew that that can be a really cool way to do it, is just to bite up a little exercise, a little journaling exercise, or, little things you can do to really pull you into that right mindset. And then the other thing I was going to say is to live into those dreams as much as you can now. Maybe you can't go live in Hawaii for 3 months of the year yet, but you can visit Hawaii for a week once a year, and if you're not quite there yet, then maybe you can learn to cook Hawaiian cuisine, or learn about the culture, or maybe you can go online and research places you want to visit when you do go. You know what I mean? Like, just really pulling in that feeling of what it is that you want to experience in your life as much as you can now, even when you're working towards manifesting and creating those full dreams into reality.
That's right. Like, if you have a motivation, or you have a car, I know some people practice actually go and visit and test drive the car so that you can actually feel it.
An excellent tip that I also share with people too is to put a reminder on your card so that you don't spend it unless it's really what you want to be spending your money on in that moment. I actually have 3 questions that I suggest people ask themselves before spending, to make sure that it's in alignment and that it's so you don't feel guilty about it later. It's really what you want to spend your money on. And I'll share those if you want. Just real briefly, you can ask yourself, is this in alignment with my values? Is this a priority? What need or want will this fill? And what am I willing to give up to have this? See, that's a really good one there, because if you're willing to give something else up, and if it is a priority and it is in alignment with your values and it fills a need that really needs to be filled, well then, you're probably cool on that expense. But if it's, you'll start to, if you go through this, well, it's not really a priority and I want it, but I also want this and I'm not really willing to give something up, and see what I mean? It kind of really irons that out for you and whether or not to spend the money on it.
Exactly. And so you just touched on it about having a good mindset. So how do you build a good mindset when reaching for that financial wealth?
Well, you know what? To me, it's about celebrating those baby steps, taking the baby steps, even if they're small steps, and celebrating it. It's about, if you mess up, dust yourself off and keep going. You're human. You're learning. Say, oh, well, okay, it didn't work out the way I thought, but I'm learning. I'm trying. I'm human. And, at least I tried. At least I got out there. Celebrate the things that do work. You know what? Well, 9 out of 12 months this year, I put away money in my 401k, for example, or so that's a big yay. Maybe you didn't do it every month because something came up or whatever, but you know what? That's 9 out of 12 isn't a bad ratio. Just really celebrating. Okay, I went to the store to buy a bottle of wine and I really wanted to spend on the $50 bottle, but I knew that the $10 bottle was fine and I just saved myself $40. Hey, that's a win. So, looking for those little pieces along the way. I think that the glory and the celebration and the fun is in all the little pieces.
Right. And is there any motivational tips that you can share with someone who is in debt currently and they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel? What are the steps that you can recommend them to start to work themselves out of debt and start building wealth and then live more fully?
Yeah, and that can be a really hard one. It can feel really overwhelming. And, I guess what I would say is, one, to have some support, in that, just to feel that you're not in it alone. If that's a professional to help you get out of debt, then that's awesome. But maybe it's a friend or a family member that you feel like you can be open and talk to about it, because it's just it feels so heavy on your own shoulders. And when you have some support, it can feel so much lighter. And then the other piece is that plan, because you can see how it's going to work, how it's gonna make a difference. Sometimes that month and you only pay, so much on each card, on each credit card or whatever, and it feels like you're not making any progress. But, I want you to focus on how much the balance changes each month on those credit cards as they get paid down. And I want you to look more long term, at a plan of how those are going to get paid off and, how much happier your life is going to be, And then the other thing is those pictures like we talked about of our dreams and the things that we want to create and we want to celebrate, and that what life is going to be like when we don't have the weight of debt on our shoulders, So that would be what I would recommend. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And I know that, Melinda, you've provided us lots of great tips and information for us to take away. And so I know you mentioned about your free gift. If you want to tell the audience where they can get it, what the free gift is about, and where they can find you.
Oh, you bet. Well, actually, I have 2 free gifts for you, so that's always fun. Better than one, right?
Yes, that's right.
You get them both at the same place, which makes it easy. So if you just go to mindfulmoneyworks.com/free gift, made it nice and easy, free gift. Then you'll find access there. If you just plug in your name and your email, then you'll get access to the full 12-day abundance challenge to help you make some subtle shifts towards creating big changes in the abundance in your life. And then the other free gift is an ebook that I wrote, and it's 3 steps to turn your money pain into money gain. And, these are both really big on mindset and attracting more money into your life. So there would be a great complement to add to, what we talked about here today.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I will have this link on my site. If you didn't get that, you'll get it on the site. And so I want to thank you again, Melinda, for, coming on and, offering your perspective and your experience. So I want to thank everyone here and the audience. Have a wonderful day. And thank you again, Melinda.
Thank you.